My name is Janelle Morgan. I'm 33 years old, born and raised on the south side of Atlanta, and I've been taking care of myself since I was old enough to clock in. I got my first job at 16, shelving books at a little black-owned bookstore after school. Not for fun money, not for sneakers, not for concerts. My parents, Denise and Paul, made it clear early. If I wanted something, I'd better figure it out myself. After high school, I earned a full ride to a local university, stayed in the dorms, and handled the rest alone. My parents didn't send grocery money, didn't buy books, didn't replace my winter jacket when the zipper broke in January. I was walking across campus in the cold with a busted coat and taped up boots, still turning in honors papers. Meanwhile, my little sister? Whole different movie. Her name is Brianna. She's 26 now. Bri has never kept a job longer than one probationary period. My parents cover everything for her. Her phone? Paid. Her car? Paid. New clothes? Swipe my mother's card. Nights out? Covered. When Brianna took a break from school at 18 because college was too stressful, nobody told her to get up and work. They just kept pouring money into her like she was a retirement plan. Me? I graduated and took an entry-level admin job at a neighborhood health clinic because I couldn't afford to be choosy. I rented a tiny studio in a rough block off Metropolitan Parkway. I stretched instant noodles, thrifted my clothes, said no to every trip, every brunch, every let's go out girl. Every extra dollar went into savings. I got promoted to office coordinator by 24. By 28, I'd saved enough to buy a small, beat-up starter house on the edge of town. New roof needed, stained carpet, bad plumbing, didn't matter. It was mine. You'd think my parents would have been proud. They didn't even bother to show up for the closing. Brianna never replied to the text I sent when I got the keys. Fast forward to now. 5 years later, I was in position to make my next move. I had just closed on my second property, a renovated 2-bedroom condo in Midtown. My plan was simple: rent it out. Let the rent cover the mortgage. Let time do the rest. In 20 years, I'd have something solid under my name. Not promises, not "we'll help you later," but something real. One night, a week or so after I signed, my mom called to talk about Thanksgiving plans. Just conversation. Small talk. I mentioned, real casual, "Yeah, I'm over at the new condo touching up paint." She went quiet for a second and said, "Oh, that's nice," in this careful voice. The kind of voice people use when they're already building a plan you don't know about. That should have been my first warning. Thanksgiving comes. I show up at my parents' house with dessert like I always do. Brianna's there. Of course she is. She still lives with them rent-free at her grown age. Before dinner, she blocks me in the living room and goes, "So tell me about this condo." "It's an investment," I said. 2 bedrooms, Midtown, good location. She starts asking questions like she's filling out an application. What's the exact block? Are there bars nearby? Are there clubs in walking distance? Can she see pics? I hand her my phone and let her scroll. She's looking through my photos like she's studying for an exam. We sit down to eat. Turkey, greens, cornbread, all that. Everything is normal until Brianna puts her fork down and smiles like she's on stage. "So, Janelle," she says loud enough for the whole table, "Mom and Dad already told me I can move into your new condo next week." I looked straight at my parents. My mom just kept eating like Brianna had announced what the football game started. My dad didn't even blink. Nobody asked me anything, they'd already decided. "Excuse me?" I said. My mom finally looked up. "You've got a house and now a condo. Brianna needs her own space. It just makes sense." "Yeah," my dad added. "You're doing well. You can afford to help your sister." Help her. How, exactly? By letting her live in the unit I bought as an investment for free, like she earned it? Brianna leaned back in her chair, all smug, and said, "I was thinking Tuesday afternoon is good for me to start moving in. Does that work for you?" The way that girl said it, like I was maintenance. I felt heat in my face, but I smiled. I don't do scenes. "No, Brianna," I said. "Thursday works better for me." Her eyes lit up. She thought that meant yes. My parents relaxed like the deal was closed. My dad even nodded like he had negotiated something wise. I stacked my plate, stood up, and said, "Thank you for letting me know about this decision all of you made about my property without asking me." "Janelle, don't start," my dad said. "I'm not starting," I told him. "I'm just noticing." The air got tight after that. Real quiet. Brianna spent the rest of dinner talking like she already lived there, explaining where she'd put her bed, what color she'd paint the wall, how she'd probably turn the second bedroom into a glam room for her makeup. My parents kept nodding, checking my face every few minutes like they were daring me to ruin the holiday by telling the truth. I hugged everybody goodbye like nothing was wrong. Brianna actually had the nerve to wink at me at the door. I drove home, opened my laptop, and went to work. By midnight, I had professional photos uploaded and the listing for the condo posted on every major rental site I could think of. Headline: Beautiful 2BR Midtown condo available immediately. I added no smoking, no drama, proof of income required in bold. By the time I went to bed, the messages were already coming in, and that was the moment I decided. I'm done being the responsible one. I'm done being the backup plan when everybody else refuses to grow up. I wasn't giving that condo to my sister. I was about to get a tenant. By the next morning, while everybody else was out hunting Black Friday sales, my phone was blowing up with rental inquiries. By 9 a.m., I had more than a dozen messages. All day, I answered emails, scheduled walkthroughs, and ran background checks. Saturday, I was at the condo showing it nonstop. 8 viewings. Sunday, I showed it again, and that's when I met her. Her name was Amina. Amina was a software engineer. Clean credit, stable job, polite, organized. She pulled up with a folder in her hand like she came prepared for a job interview. References printed, pay stubs printed, ID ready, 0 games. She walked through the unit slow, taking it in. When can I move in? She asked. As soon as we sign, I told her. We met Monday morning at a coffee spot. She signed a 1-year lease. She handed me the check, first month, last month, security deposit. In full. No hesitation. I gave her the keys. It's yours now, I said. I'll probably start moving in Wednesday, she smiled. If that's okay. Do what you need, I told her. You're home. And that was that. Tuesday night, my sister texted me like we were best friends. Hey sis, just confirming I'm moving in Thursday around 2. I already booked the truck. I sent back just one emoji. I didn't bother to explain anything. I didn't owe her that. The next afternoon, Wednesday, I was at work in a meeting when my phone buzzed. It was a photo from Amina. It was the condo living room, with boxes already stacked along the wall. Caption: starting to move things in. This place is perfect. I smiled. I felt peaceful, protected. Like I finally chose myself. Then Thursday happened. At 1:45 p.m., right in the middle of my workday, my phone lit up. It was my mother. The second I answered, she didn't even say hello. She went straight to yelling. Janelle, what is going on? Your sister is outside that condo with a truck, and there are strangers dragging furniture inside. That's not strangers, I said calmly. That's my tenant. She signed a lease on Monday. She moved boxes in yesterday. She's moving furniture today. Silence, then an explosion. You knew Brianna was moving in today. You told her Thursday was fine. I said. I acknowledged her text. That is not the same thing as giving her my property. I heard my mom breathing hard, then rustling. My dad grabbed the phone. Fix this, he snapped. Right now. Tell that woman there's been a mistake and she needs to leave. Your sister is standing outside with a U-Haul. There's no mistake, I said. I'm not breaking a legal lease because y'all decided to donate something you don't own. I don't care about a lease, he said. We told Brianna she could live there. Well, I said, then y'all can explain to Brianna why you promised her something that wasn't yours. You're really choosing money over your own sister? His voice was ice. I'm choosing to respect a signed agreement and not let you walk over me again, I said. He hung up. And that's when the real drama started. Brianna started sending me videos. First one, her sitting in the U-Haul, crying with mascara all down her face. I can't believe my own sister would do this to me, she sobbed. She left me basically homeless. Second video, her sitting on the curb by the condo like she was in a music video heartbreak scene, talking to the camera about betrayal. Third video, her back at my parents' house, lying on the floor in her old bedroom saying, "She stole my future." My mom started blowing up my phone with long paragraphs. My dad started calling from different numbers when I blocked him. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and went back to work. By the end of the workday, I had 47 missed calls. The next day, it got worse. They started calling my job. Around 10 a.m., our receptionist tapped on my door like, Janelle? Your mom is on line 1 again. That's 5 times this morning. She says it's an emergency. I leaned back in my chair and said, if she calls again, please tell her I'm in meetings all day. What about the emails? She asked. I walked out and looked at her screen. My parents had emailed the general company inbox at least 20 times with subject lines like, urgent family situation, and immediate response needed about Janelle Morgan. I said, send all of those straight to spam. For a few days, that was my life. Brianna was on Instagram posting crying selfies with captions like, when family betrays you and blood don't mean loyalty. My mom was leaving voicemails at my office talking about how I destroyed the unity of this family. The receptionist started deleting them without telling me what they said because she could tell it was toxic. My dad was emailing me whole speeches about how disappointed we are in the woman you've become. I didn't respond to any of it. Meanwhile, Amina, dream tenant, she texted me, hey, just so you know, the toilet in the hall bathroom was running a little. I fixed it, just wanted to update you. Who fixes a toilet on day 2 and doesn't ask for money back? A grown woman who respects where she lives, that's who. Then she asked, is it okay if I paint one accent wall in the bedroom? I'll repaint it back when I leave. I said, go ahead. No drama, no theatrics, no you owe me, just grown woman business. And for the first time in my whole life, I felt it clearly. My own blood never respected me. A stranger did. About 2 weeks after the condo situation, my dad called me from a number I didn't recognize. He didn't say hello. He went straight to it. This is your last chance, he said. Tell that girl to get out of the condo. Give the place to Brianna, or you're out of this family. I'm not evicting a woman who did nothing wrong, I said. Then you're not our daughter anymore. I understand. He got quiet. I think he expected me to beg. There was nothing else to say. After that, it turned into emotional warfare. Brianna was sending me videos at 2 in the morning, crying into the camera. Why do you hate me? I just wanted a place to live. By the 20th video, I stopped watching. My mom switched tactics. She started writing these long dramatic emails about how she carried me for 9 months, how she sacrificed, how family should come first. I didn't read most of them. I just saw the subject lines, ungrateful, cold, you broke us, and archived all of it. Then something interesting happened. Life moved on without them. In February, I ran into my Aunt Yvonne at the grocery store. She looked at me, then looked down like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to talk to me. Finally she said, baby, I heard about everything. You all right? I'm good, I said, and I meant it. She leaned in and dropped her voice. Your parents been telling folks you turned your back on family. They're saying you got some money now and forgot where you came from. I laughed. What money? They never gave me a dime to forget. Then she sighed and said something nobody in my family had ever said out loud to me. They always treated you different. We all saw it. That hit. Because I always knew it. But hearing someone else admit it out loud? That made it real. Spring came. I kept working. The condo was rented. The stress calmed down. The calls slowed. Then I got a certified letter in the mail. The letter was from my parents. It was written like a legal document. It basically said, because I chose material comfort over family loyalty, I was being officially cut out of their will. They wanted to make sure I knew I'd get nothing when they died. I stood in the post office and actually laughed. The woman behind the counter looked at me like, you okay? Because what will? What inheritance? They had no assets. Everything they ever had went straight into Brianna. Clothes, phone bills, her car, her messes. They weren't sitting on legacy money. They were sitting on debt. They disowned me from nothing. Cool. Around that same time, I got approached by another clinic. Word had gotten around about my work, and they wanted to meet. I interviewed. It went smooth. They offered me director of operations, almost double what I had been making. I took it. That's also where I met Marcus. Dr. Marcus Ellis, heart surgeon, smart, calm, not arrogant like most people with titles bigger than their emotional maturity. We started talking about supply logistics for the surgical wing. That's literally how our first real conversation started. He smiled and said, you just solved a problem my team's been chasing for months. I said, that's what you're paying me for. He said, let me at least buy you lunch. Lunch turned into dinner. Dinner turned into him walking me to my car. A few months later, we were official. And here's the funny thing. My parents knew nothing about any of this. They weren't in my life anymore, and the world did not end. It actually got quieter. Months later, I was grabbing lunch at a sandwich place and heard a familiar voice behind me. It was the older lady who lives across the street from my parents, telling her friend, "It's just a shame what that oldest daughter did. Just abandoned them. Refuses to help poor Brianna. Got money now and thinks she's better than the rest of them." I sat there eating my sandwich, listening to lies about me like I wasn't 5 feet away. I didn't turn around. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself to strangers. Because here's what I realized. People will believe whatever story makes them feel like they're kind and loyal, even if the story is a lie. But then I got tired of staying quiet. A little while later, my cousin Nia, we weren't even close growing up, came by my job with a wedding invitation. She said, "I just want you to know, a lot of us see it. We saw how they treated you. It wasn't normal." That cracked something open in me. So I made one post. Just one. I went on Facebook and I wrote, "I've been paying my own way since I was 16. I worked through school while my sister lived for free. I bought my own house and my own condo with my own money. My parents tried to move my sister into my rental unit without asking me, for free. When I honored a signed lease with my tenant instead of handing over my property, they called me selfish and told people I abandoned the family. Then they disowned me. I chose boundaries. They called it betrayal. If that makes me the villain, fine. I'll be the villain in peace." That was it. The post took off. People I hadn't talked to since high school were in the comments like, "Oh no, because Janelle been grinding since day one." Old coworkers were telling stories about me covering shifts, always handling business. Folks were openly saying, "You're not wrong. Your parents are enabling your sister." Within hours, my mother's pity post about someone choosing greed over family disappeared. And something shifted in the family. My phone started lighting up with messages from aunts and cousins who'd only ever heard my parents' version. Now they were reaching out like, "Wait, is that what really happened?" 3 days after that post, my mother called me from a new number and opened with, "Delete that. You're embarrassing us." I said, "You embarrassed yourself when you tried to assign my property like it was community furniture." She said, "We're still your parents." I said, "Y'all said I wasn't your daughter. Remember?" She tried to bargain. She said, "If you take the post down, we can talk about making peace." I said, "I don't want peace. I want to be left alone." I hung up. 2 weeks later, I got a handwritten letter from my dad in actual pen. I hadn't seen his handwriting in years. He said, "We messed up. We spoiled Brianna. We expected you to carry yourself and her, and that wasn't fair. We see it now. Can we talk? No demands, no expectations, just talk." I stared at that letter for a long time. Half of me thought, this is manipulation. The other half of me could feel something honest. So I called him. I said, "We can meet, but on my rules." My rules were simple. We meet in public. You don't ask me for money. You don't guilt me. You don't bring Brianna or try to force me to fix things with her. You cross one line, I get up and leave. He said quietly, "Agreed." We met that Saturday at a cafe downtown. When they walked in, I honestly almost didn't recognize them. They looked older. My mom had dropped weight. My dad was completely gray. For a minute, nobody talked. Then my dad said, "We failed you," just like that. No warm-up. He said, "We babied Brianna and expected you to be the reliable one forever. We leaned on you because you always figured it out." I asked, why was she protected and I was strong? Who decided that? My mother rubbed her face and said, "When Brianna was born, she came early. She almost didn't make it. After that, we couldn't tell her no. Every tantrum just felt like, at least she's alive. And you?" She looked at me. "You just handled everything. You didn't ask. You never asked." "I did ask," I said quietly. "I just learned fast that no was the answer." My mother started crying. Real tears, not performative guilt tears. "We hurt you," she said. "And we hurt her, too. She's grown and doesn't know how to stand yet." Then my dad told me something I did not expect to hear. He said, "After you posted on Facebook, we told Brianna, either get a job and start paying rent somewhere or move out." I leaned back, and she got a job, my mom said. Front desk at a law office. A friend of a friend helped her get in. She's been there 2 months now. She moved into an apartment with a coworker last week. She's paying actual rent. I just sat there, not because I felt sorry for her, not because I felt guilty, Because for the first time in her adult life, she was living like the rest of us. We talked for about an hour. Not fake, we're all healed now talking. Real talking, honest talking. About my job, about Marcus, about how they're finally realizing that being there for family is not the same thing as financially handcuffing one child to carry another. It wasn't a full repair, but it was the first honest conversation we ever had. After that, we started meeting once a month. Coffee, lunch, light, controlled. My rules still in place. Brianna wasn't part of that. She refused to admit she'd done anything wrong. She still told people I took her future. She still didn't come around if I was there. I didn't chase her. Sometimes the peace is that you stop chasing. Life kept moving. Marcus and I hit 1 year and decided to move in together. When we packed up my place, my parents actually showed up and helped. That alone would have sounded impossible a year earlier. My dad carried boxes. My mom helped line the kitchen cabinets. At one point she said quietly, while we were unwrapping dishes, "He treats you right. You deserve that." That sentence, that was the closest she's ever come to saying, "I'm sorry." And honestly, I took it. I kept working. The new job was everything I wanted. Marcus kept being steady and consistent. We weren't doing drama, we weren't doing chaos, just building. Amina, my tenant, renewed her lease for another year. Still paid early every month. Still respectful, still texted only if it mattered. That condo ended up being one of the best decisions I ever made, not just because of the money. Because it drew a line in the sand. Then one night in our kitchen, Marcus got down on one knee between the stove and the dishwasher and asked me to marry him. He said, "You've built a whole life by yourself, and you still kept your heart open. I want to build the rest of it with you." I said yes. When I told my parents, they were actually happy for me. They asked, "What can we do to help with the wedding?" I told them, "No money. We're covering our own costs." My dad said, "We're not here for money. We're here to show up." That was new. Here's what I learned. That condo was never just a condo. It forced everybody to take off their mask. It exposed the fact that my parents weren't helping Brianna, they were disabling her. It showed them I wasn't their safety net anymore. It showed me I didn't have to keep performing good daughter just to be tolerated. Yes, it cost me the version of family I grew up chasing. But it gave me something better. A career I actually love. A partner who respects me. Parents who for once are trying instead of demanding. A cousin who became real family. A sister who is finally paying her own rent. And 2 properties, under my name, that I earned. Do Brianna and I talk now? No, probably won't. She still tells people I ruined her plans. That's fine. Her plans were built on me breaking myself for her. Those plans needed to die. Because here's the truth, the part nobody says out loud when they talk about family loyalty. Sometimes helping somebody is actually the reason they never grow. Sometimes keeping the peace is just letting people rob you soft. Sometimes being a good daughter is code for shut up and give. The day they tried to hand my condo to my sister like it was community property, they thought they were putting me in my place. They did, just not the place they expected. They put me in my own life. So you see, my friends, the condo was never just a property. It became the line that changed everything. So tell me, was Janelle wrong for renting it out, or did her family need that wake-up call? Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe for more revenge and redemption stories, and tell me the city you're watching from. Thank you for watching. Sometimes, choosing yourself is the beginning of peace.